Hey guys, I'm Kyle, the design director here at Obsessed Garage, and I'm going to talk to you about Saber cabinets, how we've been using these in design. These are the OG cabinets. You know, Matt has been using these for years in his garages. He's installed them, probably 3 or 4 times now, and including here at OG. His last house had a huge silver Saber array that was awesome. And wanted to kind of get you guys excited about these again because Saber now has a dedicated warehouse. So their lead times are awesome. They've got a lot of stock and we're at like 2 to 3 weeks for shipping times now, whereas, you know, it used to be a lot longer. So things are looking really good for Saber, and it's still a great cabinet. You know, we kind of went into this like, hey, we're just designing with MSS Plus for everything, and that was the direction we were going, but there's still a lot of situations where Saber makes a lot of sense. You know, if you want something that is utilitarian, nondescript, you know, no logos or anything like that. If you just want a really heavy duty, solid cabinet, this is it. Like, this is the answer for that. Sonic tools still fit great in these cabinets. So, you know, there's still a need for these cabinets, and they are awesome. And we've been designing more with them lately, actually, which has been really cool. So, you know, Matt has done several different designs. He's done, you know, silver in one of his previous garages. He did black in the house with the wash bay and all of that. And then in the last house, he did, you know, that giant silver array with the, you know, the blue tree tops. It was really cool. In here, we've got just a, you know, a pretty simple setup. This is for an office. We didn't need a lot of drawers for tools and stuff like that. So, you know, we've got door cabinet here in the middle. These are pretty cool because you get the drawer with the doors. So that's nice to have. And then obviously, you know, the double door upper cabinets are really good. The cool thing with these is they're just as tall as the lower cabinets. So there's a ton of capacity in these. So if you have like a small 1-car garage and don't really have space to put lower cabinets, shoot, just load up on these upper cabinets and you can fit a ton of stuff. So those are fantastic to have. We've also got a 4-drawer cabinet, a 6-drawer cabinet, and it kind of gives you, you know, pretty good variety of what you need to do without getting, you know, too crazy into, you know, a ton of different drawer configurations and sizes and stuff like that. All of these are about 30 inches wide. And then you have, you know, some locker variations at different widths as well. So let's jump into a couple of the designs that we've been doing recently and show you guys, you know, kind of how we've been using these. So Matt, you know, he loves symmetry, so he did just a really long workbench area with 2 lockers on either end. Upper cabinets and a TV in the middle. So very symmetrical, very clean, but it looked incredible. Tons of counter space. And then he also had a locker over on the side for the kids, like, you know, for helmets and hockey sticks and tennis rackets and stuff like that. It kind of provided a little area for like parking bikes and that sort of thing. So, you know, as you're doing your own garage, think about how you can use the different areas and maybe even have like a little alcove if you've got one, or some other spot that's maybe not being used. Well, put a locker cabinet there and you can put household storage, kids stuff, or, you know, Christmas decorations, stuff like that. The 48-inch lockers are massive. They're 2 feet deep, 48 inches wide, I think, you know, somewhere around 80 inches high, and they store a lot of stuff. So you fit a ton of stuff in there. You know, we don't always do symmetrical arrays in every design that we do. It kind of depends on the layout of the room and, you know, where you enter from. If I'm like coming in from a door, I don't really want to be presented with a locker here and then have to walk around to get to my workspace. So sometimes we'll leave that open. But for Matt's garage, it worked out perfect to do a symmetrical array like that, where we have the lockers on either side. We did a good mix of 4-drawer and 6-drawer. So one thing to keep in mind with the Saber cabinets is on these deeper drawers, we've got 2 rails on every single one of them. And these deeper drawers are exactly twice the height of the shallow drawers. So on a 4-drawer cabinet, you've got 8 rails going down the side. And then a 6-drawer cabinet, basically what I'm saying is like the rails on a 6-drawer and a 4-drawer are exactly the same going all the way around, all the way down. So you can pull out these drawers, mix and match, and do some other configurations with two shallow drawers up here, or combine some 6-drawer cabinets and make like an 8-drawer cabinet if you wanted to. So you can kind of create some different solutions for yourself that maybe Saber doesn't offer from the factory by just buying certain configurations of cabinets and swapping drawers over, which is really cool. We did that in I think it's like the very middle cabinet at Matt's house, which ended up being pretty sweet. And we've been using these for years, and he kind of didn't think about that until we did his array, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. We can get even more drawers into a cabinet array, which is really cool. Focus your array on 6-drawer cabinets, I think, is the key, and then sprinkle in 1 or 2 4 drawers is fine. But I really like to use the 6 drawers because then you still have 2 deeper drawers that you can kind of switch over to the other cabinets. We did, upper cabinets. Matt likes to raise them up a little bit, so even a little bit higher than this. Ends up being above the locker cabinets, which I'm not a huge fan of, like that difference in height, but it does provide more, kind of work space here without getting too cramped. So Matt prefers to raise that up and have that extra height. If you have a real big array like Matt's and you're planning on, covering an entire wall, you can get away with it a little easier. If you're gonna have a small setup, like say like this, and capped with lockers on either side, if you were to raise these up, to me it just looks a little funny. So I prefer to have the tops all match and have these line up with your tall wall, the locker cabinets. But that's up to you. You can kind of do it however you want. So his array, probably my favorite, I think, of what we've done so far and what we've actually installed ourselves. That one worked out really good. So our client Lance's garage was kind of birthed out of him, seeing Matt's and wanting to do something similar. And rather than having one unbroken long section that he could do his array, he's got some walls in the middle for like separating the 2 garages. He's basically got a 4-car garage, and then also a door. So we weren't able to do just one long array, but we wanted to help tie everything together. So kind of going along with, how not every garage we do is going to be this symmetrical type of look. We started with the left having the locker all the way over on the left side, and then had lower cabinets and upper cabinets. And having this kind of flow was important to him, to where even though they are 2 separate spaces, having, if we had capped off that left one with locker cabinets on either side, it would have kind of ended that array, and then it would have really made it seem like, okay, these are 2 separate workspaces, 2 separate areas, completely separate from each other. Without having that locker cabinet there, now it kind of opens it up and it flows to the other part of the room, and the other area where we have the long unbroken workbench without any locker cabinets at all. So don't be afraid to get a little creative with it and have an asymmetrical array if that makes sense for you. The other part of that, like I mentioned earlier, like if you walk out of a doorway and are presented with a locker cabinet and then your countertop, it kind of feels closed off. So with that setup that we did for him, when you come out of that door, turning to the right immediately, you have a countertop that's presented to you that you have full access to. So it doesn't feel closed off or anything like that. So that's one of the main reasons why we like to do asymmetrical arrays in that type of configuration. Another great example of this is our client John's garage. He ended up doing cabinets on either side of his garage, one for his pressure washer setup and all his detailing chemicals. But then the right side was actually another, asymmetrical array. So we did the locker cabinet closer to the front of the garage, kind of in an area where it's kind of claustrophobic anyway. So having that bigger cabinet there just kind of lended itself well to, storing bigger items and that sort of thing without taking up, space in a more open area of the garage. The house door, or the door that, comes from the house, is open to the cabinet array, just like I mentioned in the previous design. So when you walk through that door, you have a cabinet array right here, but you have a countertop that's open to you. So you don't have to walk around a locker cabinet to get to that. So it just feels more open and accessible without being claustrophobic. Another project that we've been working on is for our client Ash. He's a member in the group. You've probably seen some of his posts, but he wanted to revamp the engineering lab at his work, where they have like a bunch of Markforged 3D printers and stuff like that. They've got some other, industrial 3D printers and everything. And he was really looking for a better solution than just using like these big industrial racks like they have in the rest of the warehouse. At first, we were designing another area with like some MSS Plus cabinets, and just with the wall configuration and everything, it just wasn't going to work quite right. And we were trying to figure out what to do with the 3D printers, and maybe thinking of some kind of custom racking or maybe something from Lista. And then in the end, it made sense that, well, shoot, let's just do lower cabinets from Saber. They can wall mount them or even just sit them on the ground, because nowadays they actually include feet, which is cool. And they went with a setup that incorporated a lot of these single drawer, double door cabinets, and then just like double door cabinets. They did a few drawer cabinets as well, but mostly those. And the size of these cabinets worked out perfect for holding the 3D printers on top. So they basically created stations where, 3D printer, 3D printer, 3D printer, so on and so forth, with the space behind it for like the little hopper for the resin. And it was a pretty awesome solution for them. And they were able to line all 3 walls in that engineering lab with the Saber cabinets in a way that was a little different. It's not tool focused, much like this office is not tool focused. And they were able to use, the double door and the single drawer cabinets to really, highlight the 3D printers, make it a much cleaner environment. It was cool to be able to help him kind of work through this process of figuring out like, hey, I've got these things, like, what do I do with it? And Saber Cabinets ended up being the perfect solution for that. So don't be afraid to think a little outside the box if you're looking to store something or put something on top. Something like a cabinet might make a lot of sense for that type of solution. All right, so we've shown you, some of the ways that we're using these cabinets in design, and hopefully you're able to pull from that some different ways for you to think about, how to lay these out. These are super robust, super utilitarian, but just really good cabinets. So I know you guys are gonna love these. If you need any help designing these for your space, or just have some questions or anything like that, reach out to us. It's design@obsessedgarage.com. We'll be more than happy to help guide you through it or do a custom design for you and get you all sorted out. Thanks, guys.